Okay, let's go ahead and call to order at 8:36 p.m. Eastern Time. And do we want to do public comment before we do roll call or vice versa?
I would do roll call first, and I would just then be able to keep track of who might wander in.
Got it. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, Ms. McCardle,
Present.
Mr. Watkins,
Here.
Mr. Hagopian.
Here.
I am present. Mr. Blankenship,
Present.
Mr. Bowen. Mr. Bowen did tell me he might be late.
Yep, he'll be late.
And if you will do that, entering the waiting room, Madam Chair. Mr. Nikala. Mr. Nikala.
This is Mr. Benner. He's told me he's here, but he might not
I
be able
see
to
him.
unmute.
Yeah, I see him in the.
Okay, Mr. Nikala, we can't hear you.
He says he's muted.
Yep.
Not on our end.
That's weird.
Oh, there you are.
We hear you now.
Can you hear me
Thank
now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, something worked.
Mr. Rufo? Ms. Yanuskavich? Here. Mr. Benner?
Present.
Mr. Dassing?
Here.
Mr. Duque?
Here.
Mr. Ford?
Yeah.
I need to move Mr. Pankey up here. Mr. Pankey?
Present.
I know this is a bit out of alphabetical order, but I had to do a shift on the fly. Mr. Malagan?
Present.
Mr. Chunyevich?
Here.
Mr. Nana?
I'm here.
Mr. Clark?
Here.
Mr. Cowan?
Martin Cowan is present.
Mr. Hall?
Here.
Mr. Hirsch?
Here.
Mr. Hyman? Is Mr. Hyman present? Mr. Redpath?
Yes.
And I just saw Mr. Rufo entered.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Madam Chair, out of the executive committee, Mr. Bowen is not present.
Mr. Bowen is here. I just
Okay, thank you. I didn't see you come in. So
just got in. Thank you.
the entire executive committee is present. And I think everyone's having weird computer problems today. It wouldn't let me hit a button for a moment there. And out of the LNC, it seems like only one person is absent, and that being Mr. Hyman.
Okay.
Did I miss anybody? Because I had to redo my attendance sheet on the fly.
I don't think so. Anybody in here who didn't get called?
And I do believe I saw Oliver Hall as,
Yes.
okay. Is there any staff present? Okay, Madam Chair, I believe I have the attendance.
Okay. So if you want to give public comment, you need to go to the bottom. You need to go to reactions and raise hand. Do we have any public comment? Okay, got one hand up. Anybody else? Okay, Mr. Colin Morgan, go right ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is Colin Morgan, Vice Chair of Washington State. I wanted to comment that the doing a lot of things in executive session is very concerning to me. I feel like there's a lot of things I'd like to hear about or know more about, and anything beyond like active or impending legal issues like actual lawsuits sort of thing, I don't think should be, I think should be public. And I'm very frustrated that they're not, so, or that so much isn't. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Up next, we have Harrison Kemp, Maine. Oh, Mr. Kemp, you're still muted. Yeah. Oh, he says he can't unmute himself.
Let me try.
Let's see. I just clicked ask to unmute.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It wouldn't let me unmute either. I had to leave and come back for my buttons to work.
Yep, Mr. Kemp, perhaps you need to leave and come back in. It seems like Zoom is having lots of issues.
So sorry about that. You're not the only one though. Try popping out of the meeting and coming right back, and then I'll grab you next on public comment. Okay, let's go to George Phillies.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
With respect to the motion on the floor, I would remind the executive committee the motion to be brought onto the floor, announced as such. I would remind the committee that this was done some years back with respect to another member.
All right. Can
Or
you hear me now?
Yep.
He was first. Go ahead.
No, George, you're right in the middle. Go right ahead. Keep going.
Okay, what I was going to say is that some years back, there was a proposal for disciplinary action against a member of the LNC. This became extremely controversial, chewed up a huge amount of time, and in the end didn't accomplish anything. So I would urge anyone who is concerned with this to recall history. What you do with it is up to you.
Thank you, Mr. Phillies. Up next, we have Harrison Kemp from Maine.
Harrison Kemp, Chairman for the Libertarian Party of Maine. For those of you that don't know, we are on the verge of literally ending the duopoly in Maine. And it is just very frustrating that we have to spend so much time, as the gentleman said earlier, going into executive session, talking about things, when really we should be focusing on ballot access and candidates and winning. And, it seems like this whole session so far, we've just kind of gotten told, things are getting better, but the numbers don't say that. And the level of response and help that we're getting from national doesn't say that, but we're spending who knows how much time and money on lawsuits. It's just really, really troubling.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kemp. Okay, our parliamentarian just entered. Okay, do we have any other requests for public comment? Okay, if not, we're gonna go to the next item on our agenda. Madam Secretary, do you have an agenda or anything you can share on the screen for members?
There was just that email, Madam Chair. So I have a lot of windows open.
That's
That
totally
makes
fine.
it very difficult for me to share because some of it is personal stuff and there really wasn't an agenda. The first thing that you had noticed was executive session to discuss, I believe it was legal and staff issues. And then there was a motion that was also noticed, the discussion of which would need to take place in executive session, though the voting on the motion, if it is in fact moved, would take place after executive session.
Okay, so let me see. I guess I will just drop the motion language in the chat for anybody. Although it could get
It could get
workshopped.
amended and
That's true.
workshopped. I can find the 1 second. Problem is, I think I
I've-
found it here.
I've got it.
Okay, yeah, if you could, only because my
Yep.
mailbox gets so full leading up to meetings with everyone's
Yep.
reports and
I
things like
got it.
that.
It's fine. Okay, there's the motion language that I got. Okay, so for everyone else, hang tight. We're gonna go into executive session. Just shortly, I'm gonna move. Yes, Mr. Nikela.
I would like to make a motion to amend the motion to go into executive session. Would now be the appropriate time, or would we have to wait till it's moved and seconded?
Is it regarding executive session
Yes.
going in? You can make it.
Okay, then I move to amend the,
Well, I haven't made it yet, so you can just make it.
to make the motion?
Yeah, unless it's way off, and then I'll make it and you can amend it.
Oh, I see. So it's not on the agenda. So I do move to go into executive session at this time and exclude Mr. Duque from participation in executive session.
Okay, it's a small committee, so we don't need a second, but I would amend it to ask if our attorney could be in for a portion of it.
And include our attorney in executive session.
Okay, thanks. Is there
Point
gonna be?
Point of information, Madam Chair.
Yes,
Is it the intent of Mr. Nikela to include the remainder of the LNC?
Yes. My intention would be for the rest of the body to of course attend executive session with the exception of Mr. Duque and the inclusion of our attorney.
okay. Okay, I'll second it, although it doesn't need a second. Mr. Ford has his hand raised.
I know we direct questions to to Madam Chair, but Madam Chair and Madam Secretary, I wonder if you could advise us as to for example, obviously I'm not an member of the executive committee, I'm a member of the LNC, as to what level can we break down that which is going to be discussed in executive session versus what's going to be left to discuss in front of the members of the party. My concern is obviously with the sanctity of executive session, but at the same time, I feel at this point, to whatever degree disclosure can be made in front of the full body, it should be made right now. Thank you.
I think we probably, so my inclination is to go into executive session, hash some stuff out and say, these are the things that we should come out and share with everybody else. I don't know what that is now, but obviously there's a real desire to hear from us. And that's why there are so many people on this call.
Yeah, on a region level, I've had a lot of concern about a lot of the issues raised. And, I made clear to folks that there are areas which are gray, where areas which discretion has to be held because of the proprietary nature of employee status and or legal issues. But at the same time, I'll just restate the obvious that for the first time in a long time, folks want a full airing of the circumstances that led us to this meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Madam Secretary, did you want to give any input?
No, Madam Chair, but I had another point, I suppose, of something.
Okay.
And that is normally we have a staff member that that stays in to moderate the room when we're not present. We do not have that at this moment. So I find it, I don't know what's better, is that we just reconvene and post on the LNC list when we've reconvened and people can come back to the meeting, or alternatively, I could try to sign on to the meeting on another computer with my personal account, but if I'm in executive session, it's going to be very difficult for me to monitor two rooms.
Yeah, that's not ideal. Let me take a look.
So since that is the situation,
Yeah, I was
I
looking to
am-
see if we had someone who could volunteer, but
I have a point of order,
yes.
Madam Chair. Thank you. Would it be possible to just, if moderation is the key for anything that might be said that would be on a recording, could we just stop the recording and then go into the breakout room and come back, therefore kind of negating the need for moderation? If that's the issue, anything that, because I'm assuming the recording is still live while we're in executive session. And if things get
No.
unruly,
That's not correct.
So
well, then I guess my question would be, what would the point be for moderation while we're in executive session?
for
Perhaps I
people,
misunderstood.
yeah, I mean, we want to know if people are, disclosing sensitive information, and like there's a lot of heated discussion right now, and we want to make sure everybody has their privacy respected while we're dealing with this primarily. Sometimes it's over legal and things like that.
And further, because this registration link is in fact public on the LNC
Yeah.
list, we've had circumstances in the past where someone came into the room, not a member of the party, and actually started posting pictures of murdered bodies. And it was deeply, deeply disturbing. It was like Taliban stuff. So I am not comfortable on party property not having a moderated room.
Okay.
That makes sense. I appreciate the clarity. The
Yeah,
very graphic clarity.
it happened one time on a California XCOM call as well. Can we get a moderator though? 'Cause
Madam
we have,
Secretary, is your assistant secretary on tonight? That might be a good person.
He is not on tonight, Mr. Nana.
Mr. Decay has his hand up.
Yeah, it didn't occur to me originally until Mr. Malagon did so, that non-executive committee members could make points of order. And I have my own point of order, which is that Ms. McArdle is not an impartial chair in these matters because she's implicated in the breaches of confidentiality that she's referring to. And so she needs to not be chairing this discussion. I object. My point
Okay.
of order.
I'm point of order, Madam Chair.
Madam Secretary.
Yes, we've run these meetings very loosely in the past, and I do
Your
appreciate.
microphone is unmuted, I guess.
Is mine muted?
No, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. These meetings have been run pretty informally in the past. However, business of the meeting, which includes points of order, can only be made by executive committee members. Because that is the body that is in fact meeting. We've been very loose with this in the past. But if there is going to be allegations in public and lots of details, that needs to be handled differently. So I am going to object to non-executive committee members raising points of order and ask that we run this meeting a little more strictly than we generally have. I would like to move on and get on with our evening.
Okay, point of orders heard. Okay, so we're gonna go, are there any objection from executive committee members to going into executive session with our attorney? And then we'll take care of the room. Let's just get through this part first. Going once, going twice. Okay, hearing none, we're gonna go into executive session. Now let's deal with the room. Would we be comfortable having a parliamentarian watch it for us and message us?
Ms. Eiler volunteered to be a moderator.
Okay.
I suppose the executive committee could approve that. I would have no objection to Ms. Eiler, under the ground rules, obviously we're not, that nobody is posting beheading videos and that confidential information is not being in accusations and those things that are not supposed to be done in public in that manner are not happening in the public room, that it's just the normal chat session that people have where they fellowship together.
Got it. I'm comfortable with that. Ms. Eiler's volunteer staff, so I think that's fine. Okay, so if that's how it's gonna be, Ms. Eiler, please shoot us a quick message if anything goes crazy. And
I'm
we're
making
gonna-
her co-host.
Great, thank you. And then we're going to hop into executive session.
Okay, I'm gonna try the magic. Oh, I'm gonna have to do that. No, I'm gonna try that, which shoots everyone into executive session. I'm going to have to manually add our attorney. So this might take a few moments. Please
Okay.
give me a few.
So we're technically between convening, right?
No, the executive committee is still in session.
But this room is still open to the public.
We're not in executive session. We're still in executive committee.
Yeah, we're in business right now. You can be here, but we're in business.
Got it.
And Mr. Ford is still in that other room. But none of them are executive committee members. So Madam Chair, I suggest we give it like a minute. If not,
Okay.
because I don't know if they fell asleep or I keep trying to force move them and I guess they have to accept being moved.
Got it.
That is correct. That's what I was given.
Okay, because I keep trying to go, because Bill Redpath's still in there too, now that I'm looking.
Stop trying to wake them up. It's past their bedtime.
Yeah,
They're
now
East
it's
Coast
just
people.
Mr. Ford. Mr. Ford's the only one who's still in there, so.
Okay. Okay, yes, go ahead.
Madam Chair, since I had the language that was workshopped, would you like me to make these motions?
Yes, please.
Okay, I move the appointment of an investigatory committee comprising Andrew Watkins and the regional representatives, excluding Miguel Duque, regarding potential preferral of charges for allegations of intentional violations of confidentiality by Miguel Duque to meet immediately prior to the Saturday portion of the LNC meeting in DC and report back to the LNC as the first item of business.
Okay, it's a small committee, so it doesn't require a second. Does anybody have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. This
This
isn't
is
something.
it's a substantive motion. I do believe it requires a roll call vote.
Yep.
I don't have my template in front of me, but since this is such a small committee, hopefully I will not forget anyone's name. It's not going to be in alphabetical order. It's going to be by my memory. Since I remember myself first, I will vote yes. Mr. Nikela,
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskavich,
Yes.
Mr. Bowen,
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian,
Yes.
Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
Madam Chair, it is 6 yeses. Do you wish to vote?
No, chair's not voting.
Okay, Madam Chair, that is 6 yeses, 1 express abstention.
Okay, motion passes.
The second motion was moved to restore access to the LNC email list to Mr. Duque.
Is that exactly how it was worded?
Yes, but it's open to amendment. That was the last wording.
Okay, I do remember. Okay. Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, I believe this is substantive, so I'll do a roll call vote if the chair agrees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will vote yes. Mr. Nikela,
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskavich,
Yes.
Mr. Bowen,
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian,
Yes.
Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
Madam Chair, it's 6 yeses. Would you care to vote?
Nope, chair not voting.
So it's 6 yeses, 1 express abstention.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, those are the only things on our agenda. I'm sure that people are curious for other things. It's getting really late. I'm really tired. I'll probably make some additional statements on the list tomorrow, just for people who are curious about everything going on. But I think there's only one thing left for us to do. That's adjourn.
I move to adjourn, Madam Chair.
Okay, any objection to adjournment? I'll second it. Going once, going twice. Okay, hearing no objection, we are adjourned at 11:19 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all.